Gimel quickly. Last Torah was very short. It was about the.
Can you remind about Yeshua sending names as well?
So welcome back, everyone. We're live in Efrat. It's a little noisier because it's after Tisha B'av, so the Kollel is here. We're here all at the same time. It's a packed house. Thank God. So every week we B'ezrat Hashem, every week we learn the Zera Shimshon, and we're trying to a continuous, always opportunities. The Zera Shimshon promises that we can have, that anyone who learns his Torah will see his Shuot and see great things. B'ezrat Hashem, anyone who wants to sponsor and anyone who continues to support the learning of the Zera Shimshon will see great things. Personally, I've seen some amazing things already from my own side. B'ezrat Hashem, anyone who needs a refuah, Yeshua should see it. The Zera Shimshon. Also, by the way, just to let everyone know, in about a month, less than a month, this is his yortzeit. Vav Elul is his yortzeit. So this fruit, well, just for anyone to know, so I'm sure that the Kollel will be doing something big that night. But B'ezrat Hashem, we should also take part of it as well.
Usually they make a dinner in Yerushalayim.
Oh, yeah?
Big halula. We're going to announce it on our platforms, the halula of the Zera Shimshon, and it will be invite only, but we will have an online live feed, please God, and also lots of videos. And this Motzi Shabbos we have one of the highlights, Kel Male Rachamim from I think Chazan Benjamin Helfgott will be singing. We'll put it up on all our platforms. Share it on. It's a highlight from last year's, but it's just an insight how amazing this is.
Okay, so now in this week's parsha we have something beautiful. It's always always right after Tisha B'av we have Parshat Vetchanan, which is called Shabbat Nachamu, and in this week's parsha always the Shabbat after Tisha B'av we read Vetchanan, and in Vetchanan has the Aseret HaDibrot. But we also know, when did we read Aseret HaDibrot previously? When did we read it? What parsha? Yitro. Very good. So, but there's a few things. There are a few differences between the parsha Yitro and the Zera. What? Differences and additions. It depends on what you look. So I'm going to ask. This will be a little bit more interactive, and I'm not going to ask the guy who reads lanes to do it. I want someone to read.
Yay!
Balkoris. So I'm going to ask.
That's my bar mitzvah parsha, so I know it pretty well.
Yitro? Okay.
No, Vetchanan.
Okay.
My birthday was on Monday. So it was 27 years ago. But Monday was my birthday.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so let me read the pasuk in Yitro. The fifth one of the Mitzvot Ben Adam LaHashem, the Makom. The fifth one, the last one, is called Kabed, right? Right. So it says, honor your father and your mother, so that I'll give you a long day, a long life. That's all it says, right? Right? On the land that I gave you. That's what it says in Yitro, right? Now, if we go here, what does it say here? Right, so it says here, honor your father and your mother as Hashem, your God, commanded you, so that your days will be lengthened, which sounds similar. And then it says, so that will be good for you. That's different, right? Upon the land that Hashem, which is similar to what we said, your God gives you, right? So most of the pasuk is the same. But there's a few differences in the pasuk. There are many differences in all of the Aseret HaDibrot. But the Zera Shimshon is going to focus on this difference between the Kabed HaTavicha V'Timecha and the Kabed HaTavicha V'Timecha in Yitro. But that's number 9. So it says, as we just read, it says Kabed HaTavicha. All right, so comma in Perik Baba comma in Baba comma Perik Hey, Torah 9. It says here. Sha'al Rabbi Chanina ben Agil Rabbi Chia bar Abba. Rabbi Chanina ben Agil asked the question. It says, "Mipnei bat ma badibrot harishonim lo ne'amar b'hem tov." So it says, why in the first? Hold on. No. Okay. Yeah. Do you want your own copy? Okay. It's not that one. This is the wrong one. Hold on. And he might have taken it with him. Oh yeah? Oh, okay. Okay. So he says like this. So we're doing Torah 9. So he says is why do we have to why is Rabbi Chanina ben Agil Rabbi Chanina ben Achia bar Abba. Okay, so Rabbi Chanina bar Abba Agil Rabbi Achia bar Abba says why does he brought the first why in the first set of luchot in Yitro lo ne'emar ben tov? Why does it not say the word tov like we just said? But he brought achonim ne'emar ben tov. It said we just said in here in Parshat Vetchanan it says the word tov. Amar lo acha tasho alani. He said back to him. Rabbi Chia bar Abba says, before you ask me why does good, so he says, Rabbi Chia bar Abba says, before you ask me why does good appear, he says, ask me whether, he says, first ask me if good is mentioned in them or not. Sheni Yodea, I don't know. Ela kalech etzel Rabbi Tanchum. He says, go ask Rabbi Tanchum. So there's an obvious question right around the bat. It says, how did that Rav not know what was in the other pasuk? Right? Like it's not like we're talking about you and me where we can't find out where Moed appears in in Eicha, right? Like we don't know the psukim by heart. These guys were pretty serious, right? So he says, Amar lo ho'il v'sofan nishtaber. V'chi sofan nishtaber, mai habe. Chas v'shalom paskat tova min ha'olam. So he says here. So he says that maybe the good was omitted in the first case because they were going to get broken anyways. So he says, well, if that's the case, if they were going to get broken anyways, why does good appear in the second set? Right? It's a good question. That's what the Gemara asks. So the Gemara that's the quote from the Gemara. The Gemara first has a story back and forth, which is very weird, between two rabbis. One rabbi says, I don't know if it appears or not, and if it does appear, I'm not sure why it does. Go ask someone else. That doesn't sound like a Gemara kind of answer. That sounds like a modern day 21st century answer like I don't know, go check it up on Google or something like that, right? But doesn't make sense, right? Exactly. Right, exactly. Doesn't make sense to say that. And he says even if it did say that it doesn't appear, he says, you know what, I have an answer for you. The answer is they were going to break anyway, so we didn't want to appear good. That's not an answer. Then why did we put them in the second one? We have questions on both directions. So the Zera Shimshon asked two questions. He says, "Hamamar is etamua. Ve'ech mesafka le'im lomar b'hem tov im la v'chi lo kara aseret adibot mi'amav." He says, silly question.
Rabbi is there.
So he says, is it? How could it be that the first question? How could it be that? How could it be that the tov is not? Okay, so he says, how could it be that does this? So he asked the question already. He says, does this Rav not know like what it says? Like this Rav never learned the Seret Dibrot and he can't compare? The Zera Shimshon is asking the same question. Like, come on, Rabbi, you're supposed to know be the guy that knows, not me. So he says, right? Like, couldn't you just go to get a sefer? Couldn't you just get a chumash and check it out? Like, what are we asking here? Like, well, it's not really a good answer, right?
It's still good. It's still good on the camera.
Baruch Hashem.
So much lichtigkeit from the Torah.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'm looking up what it actually says in the Gemara.
Okay. So it says here. So it says Acha Tashalim Lama Nemar Behem Tov Shenirak Sheikar Kushatohi B'Dibrot Achronim. Right. So he says, why focus on the Tov that does appear in the first set, right? In the second, it should be where it does not appear. Like what he's saying is, the question here doesn't seem adraba. Nirash Sheikar Kushatohi Al Dibrot Rishim Lama Lo Nemar Ben Tov. V'Vachi Ati Shapir Hatirus Official Sofan Shtaber. So he says here, he's saying is that this whole back and forth seems very uncertain about what's going on here. So the Zera Shimshon is bothered by this whole Gemara. He's bothered by the Gemara in a variety of ways. What he's basically saying is that something's not right here with this Gemara, and there's got to be something deep, bigger and greater than just saying is that the rabbi didn't know, so he's going to ask someone, and therefore, or he says, go check it out yourself. Something's not right. He says, oh, right. So he's saying is, and if they were really, if good was mentioned, he says here, if Rabbi Hanina had asked why good is mentioned in the latter one, right? Then he says, then Rabbi Tachman did not address his question. But the fact that the first luchot will be shattered does not explain why good appears in the second set. So then he says here like this. He says that it's true that if you look at the Rif on his commentary to Ein Yaakov, it says that there's a different version of the Gemara. I don't know if it's the whiskey talking or it's, I don't know what it is. Yes, it's warm in here. Okay, it's not okay. I don't know what it is.
I'm melting.
Yeah.
The air conditioner's not doing it.
Yeah, I think we have to turn it back on. Something's on it.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not because of power outage. I don't think it went on.
Just a bit late.
Definitely not.
The fire from the base of Migdash is still burning.
Right. Okay. We're feeling the heat of the Beit HaMikdash. Okay. So he says here. Is it on? Are you feeling it?
I can definitely feel it.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe we should change the filters. I don't know. We could just, we could lift it up and change the filter if we needed to. Whatever. I'm not going to do it. Okay. So he says here like this. He says that maybe maybe our Gemaras or the Girsah that we have is not right. He's quoting that the Rif in his Perush says that maybe there's a different comparison in the Girsah, and he says that the Girsah that said is because before you ask me why good is not mentioned, unlike what we have in our Girsah, which he says is which basically says why it is mentioned. In the other Girsah, meaning the Rif Girsah, it says why is it not mentioned. So okay, so they look good. That's not bad. Okay, all right. So then it's basically we have a question. The Zera Shimshon is bothered by a very simple question. He says that this whole Gemara, even with the whole Gemara makes very little sense, and there's something wrong with what's going on here. That there has to be something beyond what we understand of the Gemara. Even though all Gemaras we always never understand everything about it, but this Gemara is too, like as they say, smack in your face, obvious that there's something not right. Because it doesn't make sense that a guy who's at the level of Rabbi Hanina would say to him, go check out yourself, or you don't know what it means, what it said over there. So it doesn't make sense. Okay. So he says here, V'yesh lomar. So he says here, V'yesh lomar Rabbi Hanina tarte kamibayle. Shaya shoel ben al rishon ben al achronot. So he says here that we may suggest that Rabbi Hanina actually asked two questions. So he says here, the question is, he found difficulty with both versions. Rabbi Hanina found difficulty in both versions. Both the Rishonot, that was the first set and the second set. And he said, Sharei Adana, because we know, so he said here like this, we know that had Bnei Israel not sinned in the golden calf, it says that had we not sinned in the Egel, we would have no Yetzirah, and therefore no nation and no enemy of ours would be able to ever take control of us. But because we sinned with the Egel, that's what happened. So he says here, so he says is that we would have enjoyed such beautiful pleasure from the amount of greatness that we would have seen had we not sinned. So what is it? And he says, because it says, so therefore, right. Of course, had we not sinned with the Egel HaZahav, we would have benefited and seen such amazing things, including seeing the Sechar of the Olam Hazeh. אם לא שמה, אני יכול להוציא לך מכאן, אבל זה סטי. יש שם? אתה רוצה את שלי? יש? מצאת? בסדר?
Make sure everyone's got books.
Okay, we're just making sure everyone, there's a lot of, thank God there's about 30 people in here. We got to make sure everyone's got.
One of Zera Shimshon is rocking.
Yes, it is. Okay, so he says, אתה רוצה את שלי? Okay, so he says like this. So he says is that had they not sinned in the Egel HaZahab, then we would have seen amazing bracha. And he says that we would have seen the Schar Mitzvot, we would have seen also in this world. Mishum haya mistapek lama lo ne'amar b'hem tov. He says is that's why he's questioning why does it not say tov in the first set? Because had it said tov there, he's asking the question is we knew what would have happened had they not sinned. So had they not sinned, it should have said tov, because what? At the time of receiving the Aseret HaDibrot, they hadn't sinned yet, so it should have said tov. It didn't say tov there. So he says maybe even more so, Adrabah, maybe even more so, they should have been meriting the schar in this world. And then he says, he says, if you say that in the first set it should have said tov, I could ask you questions in both directions. In the first direction, had they not sinned, then it should have said tov. Why? Because at that moment there was no reason. At that moment, tov was still relevant. I mean, they hadn't sinned yet. So that's option one. And on the other side, what's on the other side? It says that once Yetzer Hara did come back, meaning after they sinned, then tov should not appear in any of them. Meaning, in the first set, I would understand tov to appear there because at the moment of before Egel HaZahab, they merited to see. They were on the potential to see this amazing level of schar, amazing level of Torah, amazing level of Ruach HaKodesh or whatever else in bracha. So they should have said tov there. If it doesn't say tov there, then it certainly shouldn't have said tov after the fact. Because once they sin and they've lowered the level after Egel HaZahab, then tov doesn't belong anywhere. Zera Shimshon is asking questions on both sides of the coin. That's what he's asking. So he's answering. The Zera Shimshon here is picking up on the nuances of what the answer was. He's saying is, I know what was said or what isn't said. It's not that. I just don't know whether the Sachar and whether the tov of the second dibrot is for this world or for the next world. It's not that I don't know that tov appears or doesn't appear. I just don't know. Are we talking about olam hazeh or olam haba? That's what he's saying here. Sharei b'perek hamad Kiddushin, in the first parak of Kiddushin, Svirei le'liyah, because the schar mitzvot b'hai amaleka. Right? We know that in the first parak of the Kiddushin it says that there's no sachar for in this world. So there's no sachar in this world, so we can't say it's for the sachar in this world. So he says here, so he's saying is that he's basically saying is that we got the Chachamim say there that we don't get the real fruit we don't get now. We get a little bit of something now, but later in Olam Haba we get the real fruit. Now we're getting the Karen. I mean, we get something of it now, and the Karen, the principle, is in Olam Haba. What we get now is just like a little bit of the interest, a little bit of the Sachar. Well, we don't really get the real Sachar, and that's what we say also every day. Right? So so he's saying that's how we understand that it's not Olam Hazeh. There's nothing to do with Olam Hazeh. There is no Sachar in this world. Right? He's saying is, this is all about an individual person he says here, and he says here, with the assertion Rabbi Chia says, he basically explains his kushya, that even according to the Chachamim and the Mishnah, there's a good reward for the mitzvot in this world, and that good. He says there is good in this world. There is good in this world, and even according to Rabbi Akiva, he says it's only with yachid, in other words, individuals. Each person gets a little bit of sachar, but as a group, there is no. However, regarding a community, he says that mitzchat b'haya al ma'ika. That he says he must agree as a community. Rabbi Akiva would agree that as a community, there is reward for mitzvot in this world. And if you look at all the different mitzvot that Hashem promises, right? When natati lachem gishmechem, right? At this man, right? I'll give you, right? What do you say in Shema? Right? What happens when you observe the mitzvot? I'll give you rain on time, right? So that's b'hai alma. That's in this world. I'm giving you. You perform mitzvot, I'll give you the rain. If you don't perform the mitzvot, I'll cut off the rain. So obviously there is zachar in this world, because otherwise how would you explain that? So he's saying is that Rabbi Akiva. The argument here he's saying is that basically, so he says that even when the Jewish nation as a whole are observant to Torah, Hashem rewards them with much good in this world. So there's no difficulty whether the fact is it's this in the latter. Right, another he's saying is that Tov appears in the later set of Luchot, because there it's not. It's talking about a different kind of good. It's not the same kind of good that we were thinking about. Right? It's not just like good and not good. It's about zachar and not zachar. In other words, it's a much greater thing. So it says, "Omnam adayin haya tzarich terutz ala kusha rishona." He says, we still have a question on the first. We still have a question on the. We still need an answer for the first question. Lama b'dibrot Hashem lo ma'amar b'hem tov. Why does it say tov at all at the first second? Right? V'amar lekolech, v'amar leknesha safan l'shaber. V'chas v'chalila paska tova. So he says here. He says that we still need to answer the first one. Why does God say tov in the first sentence, right? Because Rabbi Simcha, and he says, Rabbi Chia says to him, go check it out yourself. Go ask someone else. Right? That's not an answer. And then he says maybe because they're going to be broken down the line, so they didn't put tov in because they didn't want to break something good. He says, and that would have been taken as indication that had they been broken in the first set, since we know that the first set is going to be broken, someone might come to say as well, then God forbid that all the goodness in the world would be out of this world, would be no longer relevant. Right? That's what he's saying. He's saying is, if I had put the tov in the first set, which was going to break, if I would have put the tov in the first set, which was going to break anyway, then people would say, God forbid, all the good is out of this world. It's literally out of this world. I mean, there's no more good in the world. And that's not the case. That's not true. He says there's good even today, even after the tov were broken. And says, it says, therefore, it was broke. It was taken out of the first set, so that way, even after the Egel HaZahav, even after they were broken, Hashem says, "Don't worry, there's still good in this world." That's why it says in the second set, not in the first set. In the first set, we might have said that it's not longer good, and that's why Hashem says, "I don't want people to think that God forbid that there's no good in this world, even after I break the Luchot." So he says, so that's why he says here. That's why he says, Aliba de Kuli Alma, Schamitzah B'hai Alma Leka. Right? He says, therefore, even according to all opinions, it's not about Ben Le'achid Ben Sibur. He says, he says, both questions are answered. Good is taken out of the first set for a very obvious reason. So therefore, we never say that there's no Sachar in this world or not. It's about the different kind of good that exists. And so he says, basically what he's saying is, and I actually like this one a lot, is we have to, the whole Zera Shimshon in this piece is really to understand the fundamental difference of what Tov means. Does Tov mean just good? And therefore we can view everything it says, whatever Hashem does is for the good? Or do we say that good has to be something about a Sachar Mitzvah or not? But the point here is what the Zera Shimshon is trying to understand is, and he says it here, he says that He says here. Right, he says basically that good was omitted from the first set of the code. He says it's because the first code were destined to be broken, and since people should never say that there's no more good in this world, therefore he says good has to appear after the second set.
I'll tell you what Art Scroll's commentary on the Gemara that's quoted here.
Yeah.
Because Art Scroll brings some nice things here. It says, Rav Chia bar Abba's reply seems astonishing. It begs incredulity to suppose that one of the foremost Amoraim was unfamiliar with the wording of a verse in Dvarim,
Right.
especially in an era when the entire scripture was commonly mastered by school children.
Right.
The Rif, Ibn Yaakov, so we brought a little bit here, explains that Rav Chia bar Abba knew precisely what is written in both versions of the Zera Shimshon. He didn't know, however, what was inscribed in each set of tablets that Moshe brought down from Mount Sinai. As is evident from the Gemara's answer below, Rabbi Chanina bar Gil's question was based on the presumption that the version written in Shemot was inscribed on the first tablets and the version written in Dvarim was inscribed on the second tablets. So Rabbi Chia bar Abba responds that this is not necessarily so. That maybe what's written in the Torah wasn't actually inscribed on the Luchot. That's like crazy. Alternatively, Yun Yaakov explains that Rabbi Chia bar Abba was speaking out of humility. He was saying, as it were, why ask me? I don't even know the wording of a verse in the Torah. He's trying to be humble.
Even that's tough to say.
Right, exactly.
Even that's a tough one to say. Yeah, in this case, I don't know.
For sure. Beis Haron departs from Rashi in explaining Rabbi Chanina bar Gil's question. Balaturim notes that the second version of the Ten Commandments, this is cute. Balaturim notes that the second version of Aseret Dibrot is 17 words longer than the first version.
So,
189 instead of 172. And 17 is the gematria of Tov. So the difference between the two of them is Tov and gematria.
So I was listening to a shiur. Someone else gave a shiur on this Torah, and he was saying is that if you look at the comparison between the two, there are differences, and you look at the words. It's like 20 different words or 30 different words different between the two. And if you look at the lotas say on both sides, there's significant differences. Not on the say there's on the Ben Adam Makom and Ben Adam Chavero. Ben Adam Chavero in the first set is very short, and the second set is very long. He says that imagine printing something on two sides of a piece of paper, right? And on one side of the paper it's very filled with words, and on the other one you have to in order to make it even, you got to stretch out the font. So one would be like a 50 font, and one would be like a 10 font. He says something doesn't make sense, but he says that basically it's not that the Aseret Dibrot are more important than all the other mitzvot. It's just like the highlight reel of a good movie, right? The highlight reel this is just to get you interested and to learn more. It's not to say that these are the most, we see all the shul, the Aseret Dibrot, and like, that's the most important. It's not. It's just meant for us to get interested in what we see.
Sure. And he says one other cute thing here.
See you next week, guys.
Bye,
Welcome to Israel. Zilberberg's share in Hebrew, and keep following Charles Sakel Shorts, and check out Kel Malay Rachamim from the Hilula last year. We'll be advertising the new Hilula.